Everyone, Rabbi Shmuel Polin. I want to welcome you to my channel, and I just want to let the atheist know that I had another email exchange with a famous atheist named Tom. I'm sure you've heard of him, and we emailed about 3 times back and forth, and I already knew what his tactic was going to be. I picked up on it, I debunked it, and he never wrote back the entire day. He hasn't said anything to what I wrote. I wrote a long essay of why he's misunderstanding the purpose of science and the truth. And I tried to right that ship and right that situation, and he didn't respond at all. I see it as another victory. I can see that the atheists, when they get into an email exchange with me, wind up cursing me out and not actually debating me. But that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is the truth versus my truth. We have a lot of people today saying that they have their truth. And people are starting to really respect that. Starting to say that maybe your truth is even more important than the truth. So we have to ask the question, is there more than one truth? Can each person have his own truth? If I think that's a table, but you call it a chair, who is right? Well, you each have your own opinion. You each have your own truth about what is a table and what is a chair. So what is reality actually? It actually is an agreement between people to call certain things and have certain things have a certain purpose that it has. And everybody, if enough people agree on it, then that becomes the truth. The truth is really an agreement between observers. We observe things and we say, this is good, this is bad, this is a table, this is a chair, this is a painting, this is a window. All this stuff is stuff that we have to agree on. And if you don't agree with the masses on what it is, you may be called mentally ill. Because if the consensus is extremely strong that this is a table and you think it's a chair, then we could potentially call you mentally ill because you're not in line with reality, and reality is the consensus of many observers, and so many observers call this a table and believe that it should be eaten upon and not sat upon, that when you don't agree with their truth, the truth that's been disseminated and agreed upon by so many people, then you are out of line and you could be called mentally ill. It is possible that what some people believe that are in the minority is better than what most people believe, and time will tell if other people come to adopt the minority's view of something, and that's how revolutions happen. And revolutions happen in language, and the minority can affect and influence the majority. But reality is basically something that we all agree on, and there are many truths. Everybody has their own truth, their own way of viewing the world, and reality is that which we all agree on. So, but what you would like to know, and I think you'd like to know, is there a truth that transcends all of us? Is there the truth? Is there a real truth? Not just the truth that's made up of a lot of people's truth. One that transcends all of us. One that cannot be argued with. And the answer is yes, there is the truth. It's the things that cannot be argued with, and it is the truth of the creator of the world. For there to be a world had to come into existence, so therefore there had to be a creator. This is obvious. This is easy for anyone to understand. A child can understand it. Whoever this creator is has his view of what everything is supposed to be and how everything is supposed to behave. And that is the truth because it comes from the creator who is there from before the world and will be there after the world. He is the true existence of the world, and what he says really should go. We really should obey what he says. But what does he say? We have to have a point in history whereby God actually says something, where God actually tells us what his will is, what his reality is, what his truth is, because we want to know his truth, not just what we think. It's not so important what we think. It's more important what he thinks because he's the creator and he is also enlivening every one of us, and he's the one that you're going to be judged by at the end of your life. It's more important to know what his truth is, and that has to be revealed to us in some way, and it was revealed on the 6th of Sivan on a Sabbath in the year 1313 BCE on a mountain called Mount Sinai, where 3 million Jews were present and witnessed the revelation of God's truth. And it wound up being what we call the Ten Commandments. And if we would just follow these commandments, which is not to worship idols, not to be jealous of people, not to rob people, not to kill people, not to commit adultery, the world would be in a much, much, much better state than it is now. If we would just listen to this truth, the truth with a capital T, we would be so much better off. Imagine there being no murder and no adultery, just those two things alone. No kidnapping, because the murderers were actually talking about kidnapping. There would be no sex trafficking. Imagine if all of those sins were followed. We would have a world filled with much more sanity and peace and stability. If you had the 613 commandments, which are sort of hidden and encapsulated in the 10 commandments for Jews, then you would have what's close to a paradise. The world would basically be a paradise in the way it was before Adam and Eve sinned. This would override and overcome and undo the sin of Adam and Eve, and this entire world would be a paradise just filled with holiness and joy and optimism and pleasure. Yes, pleasure, godly pleasure. There are 613 commandments for Jews and 7 commandments for non-Jews, which also break off into many, many other hundreds of commandments. But if you want to know what the truth is, I recommend 2 websites. One for Jews, Chabad.org, Chabad.org, which non-Jews can also check out. And one for non-Jews, which is asknoah.org, asknoah.org. So you can learn about God's truth, which is the truth, which is the transcendent truth, the truth that we all should believe in, the truth that was revealed to Moses, the truth that will make this world into a paradise once again. That's the truth that you should be trying to discover. You should look at how things are designed and realize they have to have a designer, and look at the fact that things exist and they have to have a creator. And once you realize that, and you realize that he revealed himself at one point, and you follow that revelation and you make his truth your truth, if you nullify yourself and become what he wants you to be, you will be truly happy. That is how you will truly find happiness. Not by a car, not by a girl, not by a certain income level, but by doing what God wants. You will find inner joy that lasts forever. You will enjoy doing what he wants in a way that you don't fully understand yet, because you're not in touch with your godly soul. You're so used to your animal soul and you're looking for those kinds of pleasures, but there's a whole other category of pleasures that are godly pleasures. You'll also feel so much pride when you help people and you do the right thing. You can always look back on it and gain even more and more pleasure and more enjoyment about what you did. So there is only one, the truth. It is transcendent of all the other truths. We should really try to find out about that truth and live that truth, because what we say can be debunked at any point, and what's in the minority can be in the majority tomorrow, and what's in the majority today can be in the minority tomorrow. Our truths always change. Even from day to day, each one of us change our truth. But there is a real truth, the transcendent truth, the godly truth, and let's all reconnect with God the way we were before Adam and Eve sinned, and enjoy a true godly paradise together with his Messiah, the Son of David. May it be immediately. God bless.